All right.
B-roll.
B-roll material. Yeah. What's up, YouTube? Ground Zero.
I'm sorry, I'm just gonna laugh because I don't know.
It's what everybody says. I don't know.
No, I know. Well, some people have like catchphrases where they're like, "Greetings, tubers," or I don't know, like that could be. Hey, you take it. You could use it.
Greetings, tubers.
Greetings, tubers.
Oh,
that's
man,
awful.
totally.
You're gonna get letters.
Totally YouTubular. This is my buddy John. Next door neighbor, good friend for many, many years, ex-fellow Alto Cinco Mexican restaurant, dishwasher, sometime
for life.
sometime dungeon master, always co-player D&D, godparent of my son, legally none
I
of
like
that.
how you led with dungeon master.
I know.
And then we get around to
I know.
like Godfather.
I'm such a piece of shit. Anyway,
That's awesome.
We're listening to a band that we both grew up listening to and seeing in Syracuse, New York in the late 90s. This is a band called God Below. Real heavy shit. I would say that it's like the beginning of what became metalcore, but it's a far cry from what is considered metalcore now. There's a strong, I don't know, how would you describe their sound? What do you think?
I don't know. They do like the almost like Thin Lizzy sort of like intertwiney harmony thing, but they do it in a tuning that is so low.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like a crowbar-y kind of way.
There's a strong Down influence.
Yeah.
I like that first Down record, despite some of the personnel on it. Yeah, and just like a lot of the hardcore at the time, a lot of the tougher hardcore. It's got a little bit of like melody from like, I'd say like that Swedish Gothenburg stuff a bit. Very chunky. It's just all about the riffs, you know. I kind of wonder if I heard a band like this that wasn't quite as good and they weren't from Syracuse, if I'd like it at all. But I don't
say even like riffs. Yes, everything you said about the riffs, but dude's vocals are seriously awesome. I think.
Yeah, Danny's vocals are great. The band preceding this was a band called Blood Runs Black, not to be confused with As Blood Runs Black, who are a little bit more technical and death metal influenced, I would say, but still very in that like tough, chuggy, hardcore kind of vein. They were good as well. Really great stuff. So anyway, I didn't really have a topic in mind for bringing John on. He's a funny dude and always entertaining to me. You know, not like you're a clown that amuses me kind of thing, but like
I'm here to amuse you.
I find you a very engaging, you know, funny dude.
So I was thinking about this. Speaking of my comedy and my bits.
Yeah.
I'm like looking in the camera here because we've got it set so that we can see what doofuses we look like.
Yeah. I hate looking at myself too. I'm always like.
So record. Yeah. So I'm kind of realizing I'm wearing like an open flannel.
Yeah.
And you've got like a snapback on.
Oh,
and,
Jesus.
And I'm your neighbor. And am I Garth? Am I Garth to your Wayne?
Apparently.
You know?
That's what it's looking like.
Well, no. Neighbors that's like Tim the Tool Man and whatever his name
Wilson.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not appropriate. Anyway,
I don't know.
All right. Funny jokes. These are the jokes.
But I mean, you bond with certain people over the years over different things, and I know music has been a big one with us. And you've introduced me to stuff.
What have I introduced you to? I feel like you always introduce me into shit.
No, I mean like that Dark Quarter shit you showed me recently.
Yeah, but I only recently got turned on to them,
hey,
so
man,
I feel like it was like a. I learned about it, and then it was like, "Hey, Pat, do you know about this?" Like, so it was literally a 1-2 hop.
I think you introduced me to Slaufek.
Okay.
And that's a gift that keeps on giving.
I love Slaufek.
You know, so that's dope. There's other stuff, but I mean, over the years, it's interesting to see. I think we both had similar roots. We're around the same age by a few years, and I think that the building blocks of the stuff that we got into were almost identical. Not completely, you know, but
a lot of it kind of comes from where we grew up and like the scene that we were first exposed to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there was only a certain slice of hardcore, metal, or punk rock that we were exposed to for a while. But
right.
you got into things that I didn't pick up on, particularly with punk and hardcore, until way later, just because
Right.
the stuff that was playing at like the Lost, for example, like all those shows, like the matinees were, at least the ones that I was exposed to, were like the metal influenced hardcore.
Yeah.
So I missed out on things like Cro-Mags and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not even knowing that those bands were around.
And Syracuse was really weird like that in the early 90s. I mean, it's elitism that makes a scene a scene. If everybody just loved all music unequivocally, like, there would be no definition to music scenes. And the thing that defined Syracuse, at least for a couple of years, that sweet spot of years between, I want to say, early 91 till about 94, was that people made fun of old school hardcore. And that included everything from Black Flag and the Exploited through to, like, Cro-Mags and the New York stuff like Youth of Today, like bands like Youth of Today that were heavily influential on straight edge, obviously. And it was a big straight edge scene, but yet at the same time, they were playing this semi-metal, kind of metal-influenced hardcore, and they made fun of metalheads. Like, the first couple of shows I went to, I was wearing, like, Napalm Death long sleeves, and I had hair very similar to this gorgeous Kentucky waterfall that I have going on now. And I got, nobody beat me up. Like, it wasn't, like, that kind of scene, but I definitely got a few, like, real quick, like, bap, like, in the back of my head kind of things.
Really?
Yeah, like, one of the first shows I ever went to, that brief foray when there were, like, hardline dudes around. The kid that used to sing for, the pre-Green Rage band, Uprising. Sorry for all this obscure upstate stuff for people who've never heard of this shit.
It's I've never heard of Uprising.
But there was a band called Uprising, militant, vegan, straight edge, hardline movement stuff, and their singer, for no reason, was like, it was over music, and he was like, and I just like looked at him and went, and he eventually just fucked off. But like, that was like, I think my first or second show. And I was like, I was like headbanging and stuff, because that's what I was into. Like, my first couple of hardcore shows that I attended, like, I knew 80s hardcore and punk, and from being a skateboarder and stuff, and I was really into, like, all the burgeoning death metal stuff, which I've talked about on this channel before, that came out, on Earache and Roadrunner. So, just to note, we have 24 minutes here. So anyway,
You gotta edit that part out.
No, I'm just saying, just so we keep an eye on it, so we don't get fucked. But I know one thing that we definitely bonded on.
Are we gonna get fucked? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not hip to this whole YouTube.
What I mean is, just to keep an eye on the time, so we don't get cut off in the middle of talking about something.
Oh, okay, because you can only record certain segments. You better edit this out, because people are going to be changing that.
Oh
channel.
man, you wouldn't believe the shit that people put up on YouTube. It'll be fine. It'll be fucking fine.
You've left faith in your audience.
I
Respect
do.
to the audience.
Respect to the audience. Respect to the music. So I know this
Respect the badge. He earned it with his blood. Is that on this one? Or I always get this and spreading the disease confused. Yeah,
No,
because
yeah.
I am the law. All right, I don't know why my brain does this thing with Lone Justice and I Am the Law, and I flip flop them sometimes. So Lone Justice is the one that's on spreading the disease.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyway.
And for years I had trouble getting into spreading the disease. It wasn't like a high school record for me. I never heard it until I was like late 20s.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is kind of, when I first heard it, I was like, this is kind of so-so, like it's not, doesn't have the intensity and like the tempo changes and like the hardcore, the sort of hardcore fast influence of Among the Living, but it doesn't have the straight out speed metal, unabashedly metal ballsiness of Fistful of Metal. And then I was like, oh, you're a dumbass. Like, this is great, It just took a little while to grow on me.
I got spreading the disease. I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how I found Anthrax. It was probably like Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
And I first got into State of Euphoria. That was my point of entry for Anthrax.
Right.
And there used to be a like convenience store in my town that sold tapes.
Oh,
it was
weird.
super weird.
Canastota, New York.
Right. Boxing Hall of Fame.
Boxing Hall of Fame.
I don't, whatever.
Yeah.
So never been. Anyway, so yeah, Maroons had tapes,
That's weird.
and it was like a little
Yeah.
section, and so I think I got State of Euphoria, and then I played the hell out of that.
Yep.
And also weird that a little convenience store would have A, tapes, B, Anthrax tapes.
Yeah.
So
totally weird.
then I think the next one that I got was Spreading the Disease, just because that was the only other Anthrax that they had.
Right.
So I listened the hell out of that, and then found some of the other stuff, the Mongol Living and all that jazz.
This is I never really looked at the printed inner sleeve on this. It has not men over all the faces of the crowd.
The not members of Anthrax.
Yeah. Gold stamp promo. People show this stuff off. I don't know why it's important. Yeah, it's got to cut out. Cool. So, yeah, I was super into, I'll show it next, it's right behind me. I was super into Persistence of Time from Headbangers Ball. That was the first one that did it for me. And I kind of went back from there. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. I bought Fistful of Metal really early, like when I was like maybe 10 or 11 in 5th grade.
Oh wow.
And then and I had this thrash metal tape comp that had Caught in a Mosh on it. But eventually I wore those tapes out and kind of forgot about them for a while. And then around the time Persistence of Time dropped, videos were on Headbangers Ball and The Box.
The Box! Yes,
The
I remember
Box.
The Box. I remember The Box.
Which was if
Stay
it wasn't
Up Late.
if it wasn't in your area, The Box was a pay 800 number call up with a credit card, pay to see like a couple.
Not even a credit card. It would charge you your phone bill.
Oh, it would charge you your phone bill.
That's
okay.
right. I mean, unless I'm remembering.
And sometimes it didn't even work because like presumably horny 13-year-old boys would just play 2 Live Crew videos over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I'd never get a chance to see War Ensemble or You Can't Bring Me Down, which sucked.
Yeah. I do remember seeing a lot of 2 Live Crew.
Yeah.
While waiting for our Seasons in the Abyss, like in the Egyptian pyramid video to come on, that we were staying up till like 3 in the morning.
Right. So this was big. I loved Got the Time for years. I didn't know it was a cover. The Joe Jackson version is surprisingly not too different sounding. It's just less distortion, same tempo and stuff. Cool song. Joe Jackson's great.
I was made to turn my Persistence of Time T-shirt inside out in high school.
Oh, because it said POT and they thought it was a drug thing?
Yeah.
I remember that happening to somebody else that I knew. It's fucking whack. It was so lame.
Pretty stupid.
Yeah, so, I mean, as far as the pressing, this is on Island. I don't know when it came out. The sound's not too hot because it's a really, really long record, and it's on a single LP.
What do you mean it sounds not too hot?
When they try to cram too much music onto one LP, it degrades the sound quality.
Oh, okay.
It's like I had that first Cathedral album, which I've mentioned a few times on here, and it's a beautiful gatefold. Doesn't sound so great. Doesn't sound as full and everything because it's crammed onto one record. So yeah. And moving on with the journey, I mean, you got really into a lot of a lot of like metalcore-ish stuff, I guess, and
Really? You would say metalcore?
I wouldn't say metalcore. I don't know. What were you into, and what kind of stuff were you exploring in the late '90s? Would you say?
I don't know, because metalcore has a connotation to it. I don't even think such a thing existed in like the late '90s or like the genre or whatever.
It was the roots of it.
Yeah, it was more like the metal influenced hardcore, which I guess is a different way to say the same thing.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, that's the stuff that was playing. Or rather, those are the bands that were playing in Syracuse at the time.
Right.
Obviously, Earth Crisis being from Syracuse.
Right.
Your VOD, your
VOD.
I don't know. I love that first album.
It just sounds like new metal to me. I don't know, but hey, that's
but it was
different
pre new
strokes.
metal. I don't think new metal was a thing.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I feel like some of those new metal bands must have been listening to them or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not important.
Well, I mean, other bands that I was into at that time. Two that I can think of that still hold up, at least in are on rotation when I'm listening to things like Damnation AD, whatever, and Bloodlet.
Yep, I've talked about both of those.
Yeah, super good. In fact, that Damnation was my first show at the Lost.
I'm just pulling that record. Who else played that?
That show was Damnation, Ashes.
Oh, Ashes.
I think Beta Minus Mechanic played that.
Okay.
They were a Syracuse band. And then Josta 14 or 13?
Yeah, the Jamie from Hatebreed's
Yeah,
first
what
band.
was it though? 14 or 13? I don't remember.
I believe it was 14.
Okay.
From if my decrepit memory serves.
And maybe Walleye? There was a band called
yeah.
Walleye. So
I think I was at that one
there
as
were
well.
a lot of bands
Yeah.
on that show.
And it was
That album's
the guitarist
fantastic.
from Ash's brother is the singer for Damnation AK.
Yeah, I knew
believe.
somebody was
But, yeah.
a family member.
This
there.
came out on Jade Tree. This is, I think, their best one.
That album is so good.
No More Dreams of Happy Endings. Just, you know they're a quality metallic hardcore band because they had a Hesher guitarist. So the guy writing the riffs knew what he was fucking doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like mid-tempo punishing. Part of their guitar tone, not exactly, but has a similar kind of buzz to a lot of the Swedish death metal, I thought. It's not like
Yeah,
they
I
had the
hear
exact
that.
like Sunlight kind of thing, but it definitely, I heard some similarities. Ken Olden, fucking fantastic guitarist. Yeah, members went on to be in Battery. Just great shit from DC.
Yeah. Super good.
Saw them get back together in the aughts, and they were still really great. So
They have a record on I think it's on Revelation that I think is really good that I really like a lot too. It's the why can't I remember it? Kingdom of Lost Souls, I think.
oh yeah, Kingdom of,
It's-
yeah,
I remember
that's
the
a good
album.
record.
The album cover is sort of a I don't know if it's a direct rip or what, but it's like there's a obscure board game that's like Tank Wars or I don't know something like that. Because the album cover is like this cool stylized, almost like propaganda, like North Korean propaganda illustration.
Oh, yeah,
Where it's
yeah.
that sort of like hard point perspective of a tank, or maybe it's two tanks or something. And I think that was Devlin would know. I think Devlin.
Of course,
I think the reason why I know is because
Yeah.
Devlin has the board game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because Devlin, our buddy Devlin, what's up, Devlin?
One time.
Yeah, is into a lot of World War II stuff. Not one of those guys. Good guy, morally upstanding, non-fucked up person. But he's a fountain of knowledge about that stuff. You like Pagan Altar?
You
right?
turned me on to
Yeah,
Pagan
I was
Altar.
gonna. That's why I kind of pulled this. This is one of those weird bands that came back from obscurity, like in the 2000s. That had barely recorded anything and then recorded a bunch of awesome shit and have called it. One of the members passed away. I want to say, which is
That's what I heard anyway.
that's too bad. But this is a beautiful LP. I kind of have a little bit of a beef with like jackets that are so stiff that you can't put the I know that like that's not good for the jacket to actually keep the LPs in it, but I prefer to. Like I'm not gonna flip really any of my stuff. I'm not planning on it anyway. But anyway, this is on Buried Between Time and Dust Records. Touch the vinyl. I'm
What's
going
that?
to
I'm,
hell.
like, I'm trying to see the image of like this weird wizard-looking guy on the
Oh,
back.
yeah.
What's that all about? Is that the
That's just like a label,
Okay.
Oracle Records, but yeah, and that I think
Pretty dope.
that's a Pagan Altar like mascot, I believe,
Okay.
that wizard guy. But yeah, this band, fuck, like I felt like I was being deprived for not hearing them for all the years that I was into Saint Vitus and all that.
super good.
I think the nasally vocals kind of turn some people off.
I think that's what makes it good.
I think that's what makes it good too.
The vocals definitely are not, a ho hum, but they're a type of vocal style that like you're probably gonna either love or hate.
Yeah, absolutely. Similar to, if I can pull it real quick. Oh God, I'm good. Also Manila Road.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing about Manila Road.
Which is like, both these bands are relatively recent for me. Pagan Altar, it's
too,
weird
actually.
because if I consider what I consider relatively recent, I probably got into Pagan Altar like 10 years ago, and the past 10 years have just flown by. I'm sure for a kid in their mid-20s, it's like, feels like forever ago, but that's age for you. But Manila Road came along maybe a few years later for me.
pretty rad.
And the
little situation you got here.
Oh, yeah.
That looks really loved.
This is on a label called High Roller Records.
Okay.
And they do.
That's got to be a re-release though. Right?
Oh yeah, they do wonderful represses.
Okay.
That are just look like the originals. They don't fuck with any of the original artwork or anything, but everything looks really nice.
Yeah.
I'm not a big colored vinyl lover for the most part, but usually their stuff's on color and it looks cool. This is on this neon green. Yeah, High Roller's awesome. I've definitely sung their praises before. They usually come with posters and all kinds of other stuff. Their records even go back into the sleeves sometimes. Oh well, just put that there. But yeah, and I've noticed that like a lot of people lately that were into more extreme stuff are getting more into like classic heavy metal. It just seems to be the collective consciousness's way of, at least for maybe older dudes that were more into anything from death metal to hardcore. Just a lot of people are actually appreciating heavy metal, and I feel like there was such a stigma with heavy metal in the 90s and early 2000s where it was okay to like a few bands. Like, I'll have to try to wrap this up in a minute or two if I can sum it up quickly. It was okay to be into Slayer, Iron Maiden was cool, maybe a few others, Black Sabbath, and then if you were into Dio, that was dorky white trash shit. If you were into Judas Priest, you know, you were a scumbag. You know, there's this weird stigma. At least, again, maybe it was an upstate New York thing, who knows. But I feel like now, like, everybody, all these awesome bands are getting their just due, and you're getting new bands like Magic Circle, and the first In Solitude's really good. You know, I'm not sure with the direction they went.
Is that the one with Serpents Are Rising?
Yeah, that record's great.
Yeah,
but
that's really
there's
cool.
tons and tons and tons of bands, newer bands that are doing that style, and there's a lot, like Hour 13, that's more kind of doomy stuff. I'm very picky about, because there's been such an influx of that stuff lately, and there's also a lot of older stuff being unearthed where I'm like, I don't know, I think this kind of could have stayed buried. You know, you don't have to dig up every obscure demo, they're not going to all be good. But whatever, but I feel like both of us, our listening tastes have leaned more towards that stuff.
I love this song.
Yeah, this is... Sorry, guys. Oh, your Syracuse is showing. Yeah, I mean, would you agree? Like, I know you've been getting more into this stuff as of late yourself.
Yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about with that whole sort of like shaming of different heavy metal bands from the get-go. When I was a kid, you know, it was like Thrasher magazine, like we were all like little skaters and whatever, and so that's kind of like how we got exposed to certain bands, and so the bands we got exposed to sort of like predisposed us to only listen to certain things,
right?
And anything that fell outside of that was not okay, right?
Right.
So, like Suicidal and Bad Brains and Slayer were all okay and are awesome, you know. But yeah, like the whole Judas Priest thing, because I don't know, maybe there just weren't like skaters at the time that were like really into it.
For sure.
So that was a like non-skater affiliated band. I don't know, that's a weird way to put it. But then that led to a sort of like hate for those things.
Yeah.
Not a hate for those things, but like a disrespect.
Yep.
And it's absolutely silly, you know, nowadays, because like you go back and you listen to some of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, when you
especially
said
Dio.
Oh God, I love Dio, and I wonder what my life would be like if I was more into Dio as a young.
The mind reels. All right, we should wrap this up because we're gonna run out of time. Thanks to everybody for watching. I hope you enjoy this man as much as I do. He's a
Thanks.
wonderful human being. You know, that usual stuff. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. All that kind of shit. Hope you enjoyed my terrible old man mosh. Have a good day.